Make it fun, make it interactive, make your audience and your followers feel like they are involved and valued.
Welcome to the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. I'm Chelsea Gardner, and if you're ready to make marketing clear, manageable, and fun with practical steps and effective tools, you are in the right place, my friend. Together, we'll untangle the complexities of marketing your business and transform them into clear, actionable steps. Let's dive in.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. I'm so excited that you're here, that you are tuning in and listening into all of the fun stuff that the podcast has to offer and share. And today, what I want to talk to you guys about is engaging your audience with polls, quizzes, things like that. So if you are trying to come up with ways to truly engage your audience, so if you are really trying to, get some comments, get some interaction, get some shares, get some likes, whatever the case may be, you definitely want to listen to this episode. This episode is for you. All right. So first and foremost, did you know that interactive content like your polls, like your quizzes, questions, all of that actually generates up to 5 times more engagement than just static content? So let's talk about that. What are interactive, or what is interactive content? R is not the right word there. What is interactive content? It is your poll, like we just said, polls, quizzes, but it's also like surveys and all of the questions, or when you are in your stories on Instagram and you have that little heart button where people can click on it, right? Or they can ask a question inside of your story. Those are all examples of really good interactive content. So a quiz, for example, if you are sharing a story and you use the questions feature, not the questions feature, but the quiz feature, the poll feature, and you say, would you rather live on the beach or on the mountains? You can do that where someone easily just clicks one or the other, and that is engagement on our platforms. So using some of these interactive content tools inside the platforms increases our engagement. It gives our audience a better understanding of who we are, maybe what we do, maybe some things that, we want to share and discuss. So if you are trying to understand your audience better, right? If you want to know maybe what they like, what they want to see. I just recently did this actually over on my Instagram. I asked if people want to see more of 4 different topics of content, including more Canva tutorials, more Facebook ad tutorials, more whatever. And it always surprises me what I think my audience wants versus what they actually want. And so the results helps you understand maybe what your audience wants in order to get that better engagement, right? And knowing what your audience wants will improve retention on your social media platforms, meaning people won't unfollow you because they're getting the information they want from your account. So people love to share their opinions. They love to test their knowledge, right? Those types of things are so engaging. People have a very engaging nature most of the time. And so when you ask people, whether it be in your Instagram stories, whether it be through a social media caption, or a call to action on one of your social media captions, asking someone to share their opinion or, about themselves, or let's test your knowledge on this. Did you know? People engage with that stuff more because it is asking them to speak their mind. And people love to talk about what is on their mind, their opinion, themselves, things like that. And it can provide you with immediate insights into your audience preferences, right? So you get kind of that instant feedback. You get to see what people are engaging with on your platform more than some of the other things that you're putting out there. So that helps, again, understand that audience to see what is being engaged with more. If you're sharing a post about like this or that, do you want to live at the beach or in the mountains? And then you post something about, I don't know, whatever the case is. Well, then if they interact more with like a this or that, then try and make more this or that posts or more this or that stories so that they'll engage more with that. Make it fun, make it interactive, make your audience and your followers feel like they are involved and valued. I know sometimes it can seem silly to get on your stories and talk or share or, hey, I'm making this recipe. Do you love pasta? Like, I'll be happy to share it. Like, yes or no. Those types of things get your audience into like your world, what you do. And I know sometimes, a lot of times, there's so much resistance around that fact of, why would I want to share what I'm eating? Or why do I want to share this about my life? Like, because people want to know that. People are genuinely curious, and it creates that know, like, and trust factor because you're a human first and foremost. So your content needs to be humanized before you are a loan officer, a social media marketer, a whatever, right? Before you are those things, you are a human. That's what makes you you, and that's how people connect with you. You would be so surprised at the amount of interaction that I'll get through stories of stuff that has nothing to do with social media, right? If you follow me, you know I have been having some skin issues, rashes, eczema, all that stuff. And the amount of contacts I get in my messenger, giving me advice or, telling me like, hey, this worked for me, or I'm having the same thing. Tell me what you find out, right? Those types of things get people engaged. And it's like, oh man, she has this too. Like, wow, that's impressive. Or, well, what I'm dealing with is not impressive, but like, hey, I'm dealing with that too. You are a human just like me. And so get them engaged with effective polls. Kind of going back to I kind of went off on a tangent, getting back to our engagement features, polls, keeping it simple. Clear, concise questions when you are doing a poll. Again, this or that, yes or no, north or south. Those are very clear, concise answers, questions, things like that. Don't make it confusing. Don't have like 17 questions in there. Very simplistic polls, especially if you're using the poll feature on your stories. Tailor the questions to your audience's interests if you can, right? Again, you may not know their interests, so maybe you need to ask that. Maybe that needs to be the first poll that you put out there. Are you a first-time home buyer? Do you already own your home? Are you on the hunt, right? Putting that stuff out there. Are you a real estate agent? Just a click of a button for them. And you got to remember, you might have to share the same story over and over and over again. Stories disappear after 24 hours. So don't think that putting up that question of, are you a first-time home buyer, and you only get one response and you have 500 followers, put it up again and again and again and keep getting that data so you know. But you also don't want to overwhelm your audience with polls, right? So you got to also think that as well, because you want to maintain their interest. So if you're frequently putting out polls and that's all they see in your stories, well, that's a little much, right? So you don't want to post a poll every single day, but you do want to kind of look at like, getting out there and putting polls, mortgage rate preference, loan types, market predictions. What do you think the market's doing? If you have mainly real estate agents following you or other LOs following you, like, where do you think the market is going, this way or this way, right? That's a poll that you can use. So think about that. Another feature would be quizzes. So define what you want to achieve when you are kind of putting together quizzes. So when I think of quizzes, I think of two different things. One is something similar in your stories to polls where it's instead of like a this or that as a poll, it's the same button inside of your Instagram stories, but instead you're doing more of a quiz. So you're giving them more questions or more multiple choice answers in the quiz feature, right? So it's not necessarily just a this or this, it is a quiz. But you can also do like a multiple story scenario and ask, okay, well, if you chose this, why? And then like a question after it, right? So that's how I see quizzes when it comes to our stories. Now, you could absolutely go one step further into an advanced engaging quiz. And there are systems that can actually create those quizzes. So have you ever like scrolled through your Instagram or scrolled through your Facebook and you got caught up in a quiz, right? Like for me, which Disney princess are you? And it's like 10 questions. And at the end, it tells you which princess you are. You can create those easily. You do have to kind of backtrack. Okay, what do I want them to know at the end of it? And then backtrack those questions. So if you are trying to maybe do a mortgage readiness quiz, what do you want the end user to come like their aha moment? You need like 3 or 4, and then you backtrack those questions to get there. So there are actual quiz like systems that you can create actual quizzes that will educate, entertain, collect data, whatever the case, a home buyer knowledge test, a finance personality quiz, like all sorts of quizzes can actually be created in these systems. That is one step beyond our social media quizzes, but also keep that in mind if that's something that maybe you want to have your assistant create for you or something like that is a quiz. And those can be really engaging through the quiz itself, but you can share it in your social media with links. So think about that if you're trying to get data as well, is by doing a fun, engaging quiz that is built out like that. Kind of a cool feature. All right. And then obviously when you are inside of, your Instagram account. So if I pull up I have my phone. If you guys are listening, you can't see my phone right now. But if you are watching me on YouTube, you will be able to see my screen here. So I'm just going to type something here, and then when I am in my Instagram app, right? So when I am in my stories, for example, I am going to, oh, sorry, I think my microphone just switched. There we go. Sorry if I just went in and out for a hot second. But if I am in my stories, then I am going to have the ability, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this. But in my stories, I have the ability inside when I'm creating it to do a few different things. I can add a location, which is not engaging. I can do a mention of like maybe another, like my real estate agent that I was working with on something, or a client. That can be engaging because they can send that, they can share that post. Adding music's not engaging. You can upload a photo, upload GIFs, all of that stuff. The ones that are engagement opportunities on our Instagram are going to be the questions feature, the poll feature, the link feature that is engaging in the sense of if there is somewhere you want to send them, like a quiz that you created, you want them to go complete it, you can add the link in your story. Okay. There is also you'll see like a slide bar. You can add that. Right now in mine, it has the little emoji with like the heart eyes, but you can actually change what that emoji is. You could, make it a house. You could make it a money bag. So that little slide bar in there. You'll also see one that has a circle, kind of like a speaking button. If you're looking on my YouTube, I'm pointing to it. If you're listening, you're just going to have to find it. But that one is also an engagement opportunity. All they have to do is just click that little, thing, and it kind of like loves the post or likes the post or whatever the case is. Again, mine currently has the little heart-eyed emoji, but you can change out that emoji as well to go with the post. So those are your actual like engagement features on your stories. So if you're trying to get more engagement on your social media, on your Instagram, think about that, and think about how you can use your stories to get that engagement or to get more data on your followers, right? all of that stuff, right? Which mortgage is right for you? That is an amazing quiz to put together. And then your answers obviously are going to lead them down to like a USDA loan, VA loan, FHA loan, whatever loans you offer. But again, those questions have to kind of backtrack there. So think about that. And then you can obviously promote it with a link in your stories. Or do you know which mortgage is right for you? Quiz yes or no, right? So there's a ton of ways to engage on social media. You just kind of got to do it, right? So you got to actually put in the work. And then make sure you're watching the metrics. So if you are putting out a quiz on your Instagram stories to find out your followers, right? Like, are you a real estate agent? Are you a first-time home buyer? Do you own your home? Well, when people answer those, you don't necessarily always get notified. So you do need to make sure you're checking your story responses before they expire. So we know that stories, if I were to post one right now, it is almost 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I know at 12:45 tomorrow that my story is going to disappear. So by 12:30, I better be checking that thing for the results and making sure that I am tracking that data if it is something that I am trying to track, right? Now, if it is just, hey, mountain home, beach home, I mean, that's cool information to know. But if it's something like that and you're like, crap, I missed it. Okay. But if you're trying to find out like the majority of your followers and what they want, right? Like I told you, I did a quiz on mine. Like, do you want more Canva tutorials, more Facebook ad tutorials? Like I need to make sure I am checking that for the responses because I need that data. So don't like set an alarm on your phone, whatever you need to do to make sure you log back into your Instagram and pull that data before the time is up, right? And you don't want to check it 2 hours later and be like, oh, okay, no one responded. Well, it's up for 24 hours. So if someone responds after that 2-hour mark and you don't ever check again, well, you might have had responses. So try and make sure that you put an alarm on your phone for like 10 or 15 minutes before it's due to expire the next day. All right. So you can, again, use this stuff to do some engagement, know your audience. It allows you to customize content. Be consistent with it though, right? I want you to regularly post interactive content. And interactive content is all of those things that I just discussed. It's not just polls or just quizzes. So think about that too, because again, you don't want to overdo the polls because then people are just not going to respond because like, oh my God, another poll on this person's story. So think about that too. And if you're keeping it fun and it's enjoyable for the user, then they're going to find value from it or they're going to respond just because it's fun or it's funny or it's engaging or it's educational or again, thought-provoking or sharing their opinion. That's why you always see stuff where it's opinion-oriented tends to perform well or gets better engagement because people love to share their opinions. So think about that. Think about how you can start doing some engagement regularly. And my action item for you today, after this episode, I want you to go create a story. Simply just get on there, say, hey, or don't even get on there and talk. You can just do a simple background on your story. And I want you to create a poll, any poll that you want. It can something that is so simple. Do you love Chick-fil-A? Yes or no? Do you like pickles? Do you like pineapple on your pizza? Do you like sweet tea or unsweet tea? It's something so simple that's just going to get people to engage. Go post it and just see what happens. All right. Just see what happens. I guarantee you're going to be like, oh, wow, people actually engaged. So I hope this episode was helpful. Be sure to follow me on any social platform at the Chelsea Gardner. I am anywhere. If you do post something to your story, please be sure to send me a message, send me a DM over on Instagram at the Chelsea Gardner. I would love to check it out and answer your quiz, your poll, your question, or any other engagement feature that you did. So until next time, friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll chat soon.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. Make sure to follow me on any of your favorite social platforms at the Chelsea Gardner. And don't forget to hit subscribe for your weekly dose of marketing magic. Until next time, my friend, remember to keep your marketing simple and effective.